US President Donald Trump, not waiting for help from the Europeans, launched a large-scale military operation to unblock the Strait of Hormuz. It is reported that right now the US and some of their allies have started using attack aircraft to strike Iranian military ships and Apache helicopters to fight drones in order to clear the Strait of Hormuz. This is the first stage of the operation, which is intended to allow US Navy ships to enter the Strait of Hormuz, providing security and escort for commercial vessels into and out of the Persian Gulf. But military experts say that clearing the Strait of Hormuz and its coastline of Iranians could take weeks. Nevertheless, this has already affected the oil market. Oil prices fell on Friday right after a number of European countries and Japan proposed to join forces to ensure the safe passage of ships through the Strait of Hormuz, and after the Americans announced that they had launched a military operation to unblock the strait. But in the meantime, Iran began charging ship owners for the passage of tankers through the Strait of Hormuz. My name is Pechiy. Friends, if you like this content, if you want to support the work of our YouTube channel, I would be grateful for that. You can do so financially with any donation using the links and details in the description of this video. It says so there. Support the Pechiy channel. Choose any method that is convenient for you. I will be grateful for your support. Do this at the end of this episode if you think this information was useful and interesting for you, and also subscribe to my Telegram channel Pechiy News. The link to it is also in the description of this video. The United States has begun, I emphasize, a preparatory military operation. The US and some of their allies have started using attack aircraft to strike Iranian military ships, and Apache helicopters are being used against drones in order to clear the Strait of Hormuz. It is emphasized that this is the first stage of a large military operation which is supposed to ensure that US Navy ships can enter the strait by organizing the protection and escort of commercial vessels into and out of the Persian Gulf. This was officially announced today by General Dan Kane. He is the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the US Army. According to him, heavily armed A-10 aircraft and Apache attack helicopters. They are currently flying over the strait and along the southern coast of Iran. The aircraft in particular are hunting for Iranian fast boats. Some US allies, whom Kane did not name, he said, "I can't say yet." They are using helicopters to counterattack drones. Reportedly, the current operation is only part of the Pentagon's multi-stage plan. The plan aims to reduce the threat from Iranian armed boats, mines, cruise missiles, and drones, which have been blocking shipping since early March. A-10 aircraft and Apache helicopters have been hunting for boats for several days now, which are pursuing commercial vessels. And according to Dan Kane, fighter jets in the region may also join them. I should note that Iran has already attacked dozens of ships trying to pass through the Strait of Hormuz using drones, both maritime and aerial. Iran has also used missiles, including against ships located in the Gulf of Oman and the Persian Gulf. And it's important to understand that the width of the Strait of Hormuz at its narrowest point is only 38 kilometers, so just clearing it out won't be enough. Cruise missiles, let's be honest, they can be launched from hundreds of kilometers away and still hit ships passing through the strait. Despite the massive bombardments that have been going on for almost 3 weeks now by American and Israeli forces, Iran still has huge stockpiles of mines, cruise missiles on trucks, hundreds of boats which are secretly stored at hidden sites with tunnels along the coast and on the islands, so it must be admitted that Iran still has plenty of weapons. Therefore, it may take weeks to restore safe navigation in the strait. But even then, Iran will still retain a significant portion of its combat resources. And now experts are already claiming that the war in the Middle East is the greatest threat to global energy security in history, because the full restoration of oil and gas supplies from the Persian Gulf countries, it may take 6 months or even longer. Next, I'll quote the Financial Times on this matter. The global economy, the global energy sector has not experienced such a shock, not even in 2022, because of the Russian invasion of Ukraine and its consequences. The gas supplies lost due to the closure of the Hormuz Strait are twice the amount that Europe lost during the energy crisis 4 years ago. And the oil losses turned out to be greater than during the double shock half a century ago in 1973 and 1979, which at that time caused recessions, a surge in inflation, and the introduction of fuel rationing around the world. Politicians and markets still underestimate the global scale of the crisis, which deepens every day until energy exports from the Persian Gulf resume. Moreover, Iran now has another incentive not to open the Strait of Hormuz. It is reported that Tehran has introduced a so-called fee for the passage of commercial vessels through the Strait of Hormuz, by creating a vessel registration system through which approved tankers will be able to safely pass through the strait. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps is responsible for this. According to the new procedure, vessels must pass through Iranian territorial waters near the island of Larak, which is controlled by Tehran, so that the fighters of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and port authorities can visually inspect the tankers. And for the IRGC militants to let the vessel pass, the owner has to pay a fee, otherwise they will start shooting at it. It is known that at least one vessel has already paid the Iranian authorities as part of an agreement for safe passage through the strait. According to available information, we're talking about $2 million. In addition, it is known that India, Pakistan, Iraq, Malaysia, and China are already negotiating with Iran and coordinating the passage of their vessels using the new mechanism. This week, at least 8 vessels passed through the strait, choosing this new route through Larak. That means at least 8 vessels have clearly made a deal with the IRGC. As a result, Tehran announced that in the coming days, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps will establish a clear procedure for approving transit transportation. Whereas right now, the use of the corridor is discussed on a case-by-case basis. Basically, if you pay individually, you can pass through the strait. At the moment, according to S&P Global, about 3,200 ships are stuck in the Persian Gulf. After the war began in Iran, the number of passages through the Strait of Hormuz dropped by 96%. At least 22 ships have been attacked by Iranians. Nevertheless, the start of the US military operation still had a positive impact on the oil markets. This attempt to unblock the Strait of Hormuz slightly adjusted the prices. On Friday, oil prices dropped after several European countries, and Japan also proposed joining forces to ensure the safe passage of ships through the Strait of Hormuz, and the US announced the start of a military operation. Although I wouldn't say the price dropped significantly here, it was just under 1%. Well, everything sounded fine so far, but the Americans decided to take a rather strange step. U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright said on Friday that lifting sanctions on Iranian oil currently on tankers would allow shipments to be sent to Asia within 3 to 4 days. He added that Asia needs more oil, and that the U.S. is participating in a coordinated release of oil from strategic reserves. According to him, the withdrawals from the reserve will be carried out in several stages over the coming months. The United Kingdom, France, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, and Japan, in a joint statement on Thursday after initial hesitation, expressed their willingness to make their contribution after all. Nevertheless, experts assure that the potential for a rapid rollback in energy prices is very small, since the damage to production has already been done. And as long as oil flows through the Strait of Hormuz remain limited, the price of oil will definitely continue to rise. Maybe slowly, but it will rise. And on this matter, the head of the International Energy Agency, Fatih Birol, said that restoring the flow of oil and gas supplies from the Persian Gulf could take up to 6 months. It should be noted that politicians and markets are underestimating the scale of the problem. But I'll leave it at that for now. Please be sure to share your opinions and conclusions in the comments below this episode, and please subscribe to the channel. Maybe you want to become a member of this YouTube channel. You can do that right where you subscribe. And what else? Like the video and hit the bell. So friends, thank you for watching. That's all for now. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye everyone.